Bazuso? The Grey Knight Bazuso?
So put your glasses on, nothing will be wrong.
Clang clang baby, let's march towards greatness. Today I'm gonna talk about why Guts is my role model. Wait, cue in the Guts theme. I'm also gonna be analyzing some of the characters and the plot points from Berserk, but more specifically I wanna tie all of this with how it influenced my life. But before I get into that, I wanna start from the beginning, so we get more context on where I was at the time, what mindset I had, and just how I was. So in elementary school, I was going through my days with relative ease. I didn't have many problems in life in general. I didn't have many responsibilities, as is, you know, usual with kids from elementary school. I didn't have problem with my grades, my teachers, my parents. I was pretty popular. I was doing pretty well with ladies at that time, and you know, life was good. I wasn't watching too much anime at that time. Like, the only one I think I was watching religiously was Naruto. And Naruto was a good role model for me at the time. You know, in elementary school, all I needed is to believe. And that's what kind of Naruto provided for me. You know, that message that if you try, you can succeed. And that's great. Even now. But after I finished elementary school, you know, I was kind of dumb. I wasn't the brightest guy. I didn't look forward into my future. You know, I was just going with the wind. So I didn't know at what high school I wanted to go. So I went to the closest one. High School of Economics. My parents wanted me to go there because it's the closest, and they thought they would have control over me, which they did. So I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do, so you know, I went to the school, High School of Economics. And for the first year, I actually didn't do too bad. I was kind of good at it. I was still keeping that high school charm. But going forward, things changed a little. You know, as we grew up, we moved from the "this boy is the most popular, so let's all flock to him" mentality. So, you know, my popularity went away. People started questioning, why the fuck are we even talking to this kid? What have he done? What has he done? And also, I was growing up, so I started kind of doubting myself. And you know, this whole thing kind of spiraled out of control. My grades started going down. I wasn't doing too good with my parents. We were having a lot of arguments over grades and everything. So what did I do? Of course, I turned to escapism. I started getting into gaming. I got an Xbox 360, and from the second year of high school through the entire high school, all I did is play video games. That was my life. Barely any friends, barely any female interaction. I was barely getting any exercise. And I got depressed. And when you're depressed, the thing is, you want to move away from all these things that make you sad and miserable. But high school was kind of the main reason I was depressed. I hated going to high school. I hated it with a passion. It's not just, I hate school, I don't want to read. No, it was a genuine, passionate hate for it. I didn't want to see the sight of the corridors. I didn't want to see the sight of the teachers or any of the people in there. I remember it. It was awful. Didn't want to wake up. And the thing is, when shit gets real, all of the believe it garbage that they sell you in Naruto, I mean, it's not garbage, it's great, but you know, it was a darker place, and that didn't really work for me anymore. In 2012, I discovered Dark Souls, which helped me cope with all of this shit, because I had a great, wonderful world that I could escape to, and, you know, just feel better. But what got me out of my depression is Berserk. So let me tell you how I discovered Berserk. So I was watching some random YouTube videos. I think it was one of the Vsauce ones where they present you with new apps and things like that. So I discovered Fling, which is an app that is basically like Snapchat, but instead of sending the pictures to your friends, you send it to up to 50 random people around the world. And one day, I got a Fling or Snapchat from a guy who was taking the picture from his window, and he wrote "Praise the Sun" on it. And I hit that guy up and said, "Whoa, you're a fan of Dark Souls? That's crazy." Which is crazy. Think about this. How many people have beat Dark Souls, have Fling, and sent that reference to random people, and I just happen to be one of the guys who beat Dark Souls and have Fling too. It's 1 in a billion. So we started chatting and we talked about Dark Souls, and he told me that Dark Souls got inspired by Berserk. What is that? What is Berserk? So he said to me what any great Berserk fan would say. Read the manga, it's the best. If you're not reading the manga, watch the 1997 series. If not that, the movies are kinda okay. So I decided to watch the series. And just so happened that Guts was the character that I was looking for. He was the shining light that would lead me from this dark place to ManMode I am today. So right away, Guts is this character who just goes around the world beating people up as a mercenary to earn some gold to survive, basically. And he's strong, he's been training his whole life, he's good at it. But Griffith notices that and wants to take him for himself. When Guts and Griffith clash for the first time, Griffith wins. I mean, Griffith had a better technique, he was more experienced, so that's why he won. But I think he also won because he had a stronger resolve. What was Guts fighting for? Guts was fighting for basically nothing, he was just trying to escape him. But Griffith had a mission. He saw Guts as an important asset to his Band of the Hawk mercenary group. And right away, Guts is under Griffith's control. He will do anything Griffith tells him to. Moving forward, Guts starts to admire Griffith and starts treating him kind of as his friend. Someone worth following. Someone with great ambition, a great dream, and Guts wants to realize his dream. And Guts wants to help him to get to that goal. You know, Griffith is this perfect angel-like human, right? And Guts is this rugged, big, strong dude who had a horrible childhood. And of course, as an edgy 17, 18-year-old, of course I gravitated toward Guts. You know, of course I related to his shitty life more than to Griffith's perfect ambition and drive. I didn't have that. Oh man, the world is so bad. I have a bad time. I am sad all the time. And Guts had a horrible childhood. He is suffering. He's not having a good time. So pretty much, me and Guts, the same people, right? Yeah, that's how teenagers with depression think. Anyway, through the course of the first half of the show, Griffith and Guts get really close to each other and start treating each other as friends. Or do they? The relationship is pretty one-sided. Guts loves Griffith because he has ambition and drive that he never had. That's not the only reason he likes him. But Griffith only likes Guts for one reason. See, he's a very value-driven person. Some people say that there were hints that they're gay. But Griffith doesn't love anyone. He's a very value-driven person. The only things he loves is his dream. And the only things he really values is things that would get him closer to that dream. That's why he recruited Guts. And that's why he likes him so much. And that's why he doesn't like Casca as much as Guts. He saw Guts as a tool, strong tool, that will help him a lot to achieve his dream. That is why he likes him. And Guts doesn't realize this until one day Guts overhears his conversation. He hears Griffith say that for him to call someone his friend, he has to be equal, meaning he has a dream that he will pursue even if that means opposing him. This breaks Guts because he thought Griffith and him were friends. There's this great scene where it pans up and you see Griffith being above Guts. And it's great symbolism of how apart they are, of how Guts is physically and figuratively lower than Griffith. And it almost looks like Griffith is looking down on him. So I was idolizing Guts through this entire show. And Griffith looking down on him, it also felt like he was looking down on me. I also related this whole situation of how my friends and people around me, people in school, were doing better than me, going out there achieving things. Now looking back, that was kind of stupid, because where the fuck are they now, right? But at that point I really felt like that. So Guts decides that he will see this war through, that he will help Griffith get closer to his dream. But after that, he's leaving. And that's what he did. But before he's about to leave, Griffith confronts him again, telling him that he owns him and that he will decide how and when he will die. They clash swords and Guts just fucking breaks his little twink scimitar and almost cuts him in half. What's funny is that Griffith actually wanted to kill Guts at that moment. Because going back to what I said, he's a value-driven person. If he can't control Guts, then he has no value to him. Might as well kill him. But he will gamble his life to get that. And you know why Griffith lost? For the same reason that Griffith won the first time they battled. Guts had a stronger resolve. Yes, of course, he was stronger. But I think it's also a metaphor. Guts now has a goal of going out there and finding what he was born to do, finding his own dream, his own ambition, so he can call himself equal to Griffith. And Griffith only sees Guts as a big, valuable thing, so obviously Guts is more determined and has a bigger resolve, and that's why he just breaks his sword, right? That's what it means, breaking his shackles. So yeah, Guts pretty much leaves, and for the next year, he goes on a journey of self-discovery. He wants to know where he stands and what is the meaning of his life. But this moment directly related to my situation I was in at the time. I felt like my whole life has been decided by my parents and people telling me what to do, what's best for me. And I was going through a fucking high school that I hate, not knowing what my place is and just doing things for the sake of doing them. And seeing Guts take this step and being completely determined also made me take a step too. You know what I did? I intentionally failed the last year of high school and delayed my Matura exam for a year. It is kind of stupid in hindsight, but at that moment it was really important for me to just throw everything away and try to fix shit up in my head. Because there were also a lot of other reasons that I look up to Guts. He had things and did things that I didn't and couldn't. So I took one of the strongest, most confident, most badass characters in fiction and modeled my life after him. I really like how he treated Casca, for example. He was not having it. He was not letting people push him around. So in that year I learned how to say no and be more disagreeable. I also learned how to not be a nice guy to girls, and that I have to be an independent, strong dude for them to like me. See, here's the thing, girls don't want a pussy, they already have one. I learned how to be confident, to be the alpha male. So whenever I step into a room with a bunch of people, I want to be the strongest, the most badass person in there. I stopped caring what other people think of me. Why the fuck do I care what this fucking guy thinks of me? I am the best, okay? Also, I started lifting, bro. I got fucking swole. Because for me to be able to have that confidence, I have to show it off too. And what better way to show it than to be a strong, unmovable brick? And that's also how my man mode thing started at the time. I was telling myself every time, multiple times a day, everything I did, all I did is, I'm man mode, I'm man mode, I'm man mode. And my friends got addicted to that phrase too, so, you know, we became man mode. And that's why I named my channel Man Mode. I think the anime community is missing some man mode. But there is something to be said about the fact that if you tell yourself that you're something, you will become that thing after a while. You just really have to believe it and, you know, be in that mindset. I am man mode, therefore I became man mode. Do you understand? Now it's been 3 or 4 years since then, and looking back at it, I went way overboard with all of this stuff. I really got close to how Guts is in the anime in terms of my attitude and just the way I acted. And if you look at Berserk, you know, Guts is not the most likable guy if you met him in person. I kinda toned it down after that. But I think if I hadn't gone to the extreme at the time, I couldn't find the balance that I have now. Anyway, you know what happens in Berserk. There's a little event called Eclipse that happens where a bunch of people die. And Guts gets branded as a sacrifice and basically has to fight a bunch of demons and monsters every day, every night. And that was also relatable to me because, you know, I was an edgy teen. Oh, the world is so dark. I'm a struggler. I have to survive every day. I'm like Guts. You know. I was pretty much an edgelord, let's face it. Right now, I'm happy with who and what I am. I like the kind of person I am. I like how I look. I have no problems with myself physically or mentally. There is only one issue I have with myself. I'm not pursuing my goals enough. I am not a hardworking man, which is why marching towards greatness exists. I still admire Guts, but I wouldn't say he's a role model anymore to me. I wouldn't say I even have a role model at all right now. I have people I look up to, but those are people who are hardworking and have achieved their dreams, or are working hard to get towards them. Like a bunch of YouTubers and people who wrote successful books and, you know, guys like Jordan Peterson, best guy ever. And there are a bunch of others I won't name. They're not really my role models, but they possess certain attributes that I want to obtain in the future too. Yeah, so that's it. I think I said everything I wanted to say. I hope you enjoyed day 1 of marching towards greatness, and see you tomorrow.